Well, this week's Cloudflare outage was a stark reminder of how much the internet depends on a few key players and how quickly things can go wrong. With major platforms like X, Spotify, and AWS slowed by a single bug, the question now, what's next? How will companies strengthen their systems? And what does it mean for the future of internet reliability? Joining us now is Andy Green, cybersecurity researcher at Kennesaw State University. Andy, good to see you this morning. You know, I first noticed it a couple days ago when I was on ChatGPT and it went black, and I had to resort to good old-fashioned Google. And we're reminded in times like these just how much we rely on half the internet for things. What went wrong this week? How can you describe it in the simplest way possible?
So for starters, it's important to understand what Cloudflare provides as a service. They are a content delivery network, or CDN. And they stand in front of these products to make sure that they have good uptime. In theory, that's what Cloudflare is supposed to do. And so when Cloudflare has, in this specific instance, they had an internal bug because making sure that you have uptime all the time on behalf of these products is a very complex offering. And so they run a lot of software in the back end that we don't have to worry about as consumers. But in this case, it was what they referred to as a bot management application that helps them manage the entire operation on the inside. And it basically went down. There was a database issue. And so when that went down, you and I couldn't reach ChatGPT, X, formerly Twitter, take your pick. A lot of services were impacted. And as a result, what organizations pay for, which is increased and ensured uptime, was taken off the table because Cloudflare had an internal software issue. And it's, from a business perspective, that's frustrating. If I pay for this service to Cloudflare, I'm doing so because I think Cloudflare can do this job and do it well. And as a business, I'm protected from downtime like what we saw yesterday. And so from a business operations perspective, it's frustrating. From a consumer perspective, it's frustrating. I can't get to the things that I want to get to. And so it's a lose-lose for everybody.
To be a fly on the wall in the boardroom of Cloudflare this week. I mean, what are they doing behind the scenes to perhaps prevent something like this in the future, especially when just routine updates are involved?
Well, this is not the first time that Cloudflare has been hit by this. And when I say this, I mean issues in general. This is Cloudflare's worst incident since 2019. And one of the things that Cloudflare does is they publish a pretty thorough, what we call a post-mortem. They take the incident apart. They're very transparent about what happened, how it happened, and they wanted to be clear up front. Their very first sentence in their post-mortem was, this was an internal issue. This was not a cyber attack or anything like that. And they apply lessons learned, which is what you would hope any organization would do after an incident like this. And so, very technical write-up, which I won't bore you or the viewers with because it's a lot of technical gobbledygook. But basically, they apply lessons learned, and you hope that they won't have the same type of incident next time. But these things have happened before, and unfortunately, they will happen again. From a business perspective, I start to question, where have I put my eggs in which basket? And when I pay for a service like Cloudflare, am I really getting protection that I want? And so now I have to look at, I had looked at Cloudflare as risk mitigation. I want to make sure my services are up. Now how do I risk mitigate from Cloudflare, potentially?
Well, Andy, do you think I was going to say, do you think this signals a need for new industry standards or any kind of regulatory oversight? How much oversight do they have right now when it comes to these critical internet infrastructure providers?
Very little to none. And software is software. When humans write software is going to break. And so when you start to look at the number of players who are in the space, that's the troubling issue. First of all, this is a complex environment. Writing and creating a CDN that works globally is no trivial feat. And the number of organizations that can offer that as a service are few and far between.
All right, we'll be watching. Andy Green, I'm sure we'll be talking again at some point. Cybersecurity expert at Kennesaw State. Thanks for helping us make sense of it all.
Thank you.